Echo of Soul is a new MMORPG created by Korean developer Envious and published by Area Games. Released in the United States and Europe in June of 2015 as a free-to-play model, there are two main questions. Is it pay to win? And is it fun? Let's find out. The premise of Echo of Soul is that you are a soul keeper sent down by the gods to cleanse the world of an evil corruption that has begun taking over. You may choose between 5 different classes: the warrior, rogue, guardian, sorceress, and archer. Each class has 2 sub-specs, also allowing for a bit of variety in the gameplay. The class design though really disappointed me, as there is only one tank class, the warrior, and no healer class. This is a huge pet peeve of mine, and I don't understand why MMOs try and do this. I get that they're trying to be different, but this has always just become an annoyance to me, and the in-game becomes unbearable once you start trying to raid. I'll explain why it's so bad a little bit later in the review. The leveling experience is very straightforward, and honestly, incredibly boring. Level 1 through 20 screams by, and I was able to do it in about 3 to 4 hours of gameplay. By level 30, the experience slows down quite a bit, and by level 50, it is ground to an almost crawl. I don't really fault games for lack of variety in quests because, to be honest, there's only so much you can do. Kill 10 of this, gather 10 of this, go talk to this person, rescue this person. But my problem is there are almost too many quests. Between level 1 and 60, there are well over 1,200, and even the most average player will easily get the 1,000 quest achievement. This game puts huge emphasis on the quest experience, and very little on the actual grind. Typically, 80% or better of your experience will come from quests alone, which basically doesn't leave you much options if you get burnt out and want to do something else. The quest zones are also very small since everything is instant. I would speculate that this is done to lessen the load on the server, since a ton of people in the zone can cause some lag, but it just kind of throws off my flow a bit. You will be absolutely swimming in gear while you're leveling too. So much drops from mobs that you will quickly fill up your bags with gems, weapons, armor, and a multitude of other crap that mobs drop while leveling. And this is where you will come to your first pay gate. Echo of Soul does reward you with some small 6-slot bags as you level, but if you want bigger bags, I only came across one size, a 10-slot, and it's only available from the marketplace. You will get one as a reward at level 60, but if you want to maximize your carrying ability, it's going to cost you about $4 per bag. Your bank isn't much help either, since it only allows you 12 slots, and the game quickly loads you up with a ton of worthless freebies that have mild usage while leveling. I saved these up thinking they might be of some use when I hit level 60 or started running dungeons, since some of them have bonus defense, bonus armor, stuff like that, but generally they turned out to be pretty worthless. There are additional bank slots, but even those kind of suck since they first off require a bag, which costs gold, and secondly, the slot itself costs gold. No big deal, right? Except that no mob until you reach level 60 actually drops any gold at all. Not 1 silver. Fortunately, there is an auction house, but even this becomes a pay gate problem. Your stock auction house only allows you to list 7 auctions at a time. Thankfully, Area Games has a solution. For the low price of $1 per day, or about $7 per month if you buy the month package, you gain an additional 10 slots, and you can post up to 17 auctions. Or, you could just be smart and take the 10 minutes or so that it takes to level an alt, and park it in near the start area auction house, and an hour or so of leveling would net you about an additional 30 slots. Not to mention, these characters make an awesome storage system since you can simply mail stuff and leave it there untouched for 30 days. I found myself doing this quite a bit. Gold can be challenging to get while leveling. Thankfully though, for the most part, it's pretty useless as well. As I said before, Echo of Souls floods your inventory with gear. To add to this, starting at level 10, you are introduced to the solo dungeons, which allow you to get rare quality gear that is more than likely much better than what you are wearing. You will get a new one of these dungeons to run every 10 levels, along with a heroic version that can be soloed every 5 levels in between, making it very hard to die. To put this in perspective, while leveling, I died twice. The first time was on purpose because I was level 30 or so, and I was just curious what happened. The second time, I simply wasn't paying attention. I literally watched movies while I was leveling. Professions are questionable, to say the least, and are broken down into two categories. You have professions, such as alchemy, jewel crafting, and gathering, and secondary professions called hobbies, which give you the option of picking up cooking, and soul expert, which allows you to extract souls out of gear. You will use these souls for certain powerful talents, and they will also allow you to craft reagents which are useful for alchemy and jewel crafting professions. This works similar to disenchanting the item. What aggravates me is while you can pick up both hobbies, and trust me, you will need cooking for in-game, you can only choose one primary profession. So it's kind of like, would you like to craft? Well, have fun not being able to gather materials. Or would you like to take up gathering? Well, what are you planning on doing with all these materials? Imagine if World of Warcraft gave you the option of choosing between mining or blacksmithing. Everyone would just choose the gathering professions, which is basically what happens here. Not to mention, you can buy all the starting level mats from a vendor, so it's basically pointless anyways. Although not a profession, you will also collect dull gems as you level, which can be combined into greater power up to a level 8 gem. Now the catch with these is that after level 6, you have a chance to mess up and accidentally destroy one of the gems, and although they aren't difficult to collect, it takes 2 level 1 gems to make a level 2, 2 level 2s to make a 3, and so on. So to get to a level 8 gem, you would need to collect 256 gems, and that's assuming you don't accidentally destroy one while combining. Thankfully again, Paygate has a solution, and you can buy a safeguard that, if the chance fails, you only lose the safeguard instead of losing the gem. After spending all that time and effort leveling those gems, you will quickly find out that they will not work in gear above level 60. On the bright side though, they can be extracted from gear for only 1 silver, and if you plan on leveling alts, they are BOE, so you can get a pretty nice leveling boost as you can socket a level 8 gem into a level 1 character. These gems though only fit in a specific slot, so you can't just pick the ones you like. At level 60 you start collecting a new gem, a lucid gem, out of dungeons, and if you're pretty dedicated, you can quickly resocket all your new gear. Cooking has the opposite problem. Unlike other MMOs, you don't need to eat to get your health back. You use bandages and potions for that, and they are plentiful. Mobs drop them constantly, and if you somehow manage to run out, you can always buy more from a general vendor for 1 silver each, incredibly cheap. Food instead is used to restore your energy. Your abilities will naturally deplete your energy, and logically, eating restores this, but it also comes with a catch. The more you eat, the more your satiety goes up. While leveling, this isn't much of an issue, but by the time you hit level 60, the vendor food restores about 2% of your energy while filling you up 20% of your satiety. To make matters worse, if you aren't paying close attention and forget to eat, it is possible to get yourself in an almost unrecoverable hole where your energy is low and you can't recover full energy. But hey, again, don't worry, we've got you covered. We can sell you a magic diet pill that allows you to eat more. This is where the game really started getting annoying to me. This isn't something that's make or break as a punishment, as it isn't super sharp, and the difference between 0 and 100% full is about 10% more damage and health, but it is a noticeable amount, and why not maximize your stats? Hopefully in-game has more to offer. Well, the answer is a resounding no. It's like a totally different game, but not in a good way. The entire time you are leveling, any item that drops, weapons, armor, food, bandages, common, rare, epic, it doesn't matter. Everything vendors for 1 silver. The nice thing is, buying potions also only costs 1 silver. At 60 though, these jump way up to 330 silver a potion, meaning the 30 gold or so that I farmed by penny pinching while I was leveling buys me about 90 potions, which you are basically spamming to keep yourself alive. Even at level 60, you are still running solo dungeons to get your item level high enough to get into groups, but these are much worse. The solo dungeons while leveling weren't nearly as bad because you could just skip the trash. Once you hit 60 though, that goes out the window. To progress to the boss, you must kill every single creature, beast, and human that you encounter. Expect to take at least 30 minutes per trip, and keep in mind that you are going to be burning through potions, scrolls, and bandages the whole trip. Thankfully, the mobs finally start to drop gold, but it's such a negligible amount that it doesn't really cover the costs. Once you finally get your gear score high enough to start running in groups, you'll realize the system is equally as annoying. There's only one tank class, the Warrior. Secondly, there are no healers, and third off, things get really expensive really fast. In one dungeon alone, I burned over 30 potions just getting through the run. As a tank, you are responsible for threat, mitigating out damage, and healing yourself. It is single-handedly one of the most tedious things I have ever come across and involves a tremendous amount of micromanaging. Not to mention that no one holds back. Not that that really shocks me in 10 years of tanking. It's something that I'm used to, but when people get pissed at you for simultaneously not being able to hold threat and not being able to keep yourself alive, it gets really old really quick. This guy literally chewed my ass for about 10 minutes because I left the group after we wiped twice on the first pull. It may be possible that once gear improved, things get easier, but I didn't really have the patience at this point, nor the gold reserves to continue. Echo of Soul does offer PvP, and thankfully it's a bit more enjoyable than raiding, although it does take a minute to figure out. You will need to know that if you have no PvP gear, you are going to get absolutely annihilated. I was getting 3-shot by most players and felt totally useless my first battleground. I couldn't figure out why at first, but I looked into it a bit more, and here's why. There is a very sharp divide between PvP gear and PvE gear. Both sets are only about 20% effective in the other scenario, so even though you have about 4,000 health, you are effectively wearing about level 10 gear. Thankfully, all you need to do is 1 or 2 battlegrounds, and an entire set of PvP epics can be purchased for about 100 honor, and this levels the playing field. The battlegrounds are a bit plain, but somewhat creative at the same time. I only experienced 2 of them, but I had quite a bit of fun in both of them. One is a capture the objective type, and the other is a capture and maintain the base type, and both require more strategy and communication than you would think. I honestly think I had more fun in the arenas though. Basically, it's a random queue 5 versus 5, but I think you can also queue as a team. You can get specific healing scrolls and potions as well, which if used strategically can make the difference between winning and losing. I did several of these, and I honestly had the most fun out of the game doing these. If you were considering playing this game, I would strongly suggest doing it for the PvP content, as it feels so much more fulfilling. And this is coming from a longtime raider. I just feel that it's too much effort for too little reward, since even the best in slot raiding gear would get you absolutely destroyed by the welfare battleground epics you can get in about 30 minutes of time. It makes the gear super one-dimensional. Now, in the fact that the game does not, at least not at this point, support add-ons, so it's not even like in raiding you could get enjoyment out of topping DPS meters, so you would even know if you were number 1. So to answer the initial question, is it pay to win? No. I would classify it more as pay for convenience, with the limitations of the auction house, the small bag size, and the constant need to eat. You're put in a very annoying situation. I think that this game could be improved substantially, but I also kind of understand that they're trying to use the microtransaction model. I'm not sure how much these improvements would actually be implemented, but would I recommend the game? It kind of depends. I think there's much better MMOs out there right now to play, and some of them are even free to play. This game isn't awful, but it's not great either, and personally I just found it really bland. I hope you guys got some good information out of this, and as always, it's been a pleasure. Take it easy. Alpha out.